Imagine a secret code passed down through generations, a code that not only built thriving communities, but also empowered individuals with the wisdom to create lasting prosperity. Today, we unveil these time-tested Jewish money secrets that have inspired success, community, and a deep sense of purpose throughout history. Chapter 1. Foundations of Prosperity, Faith, Values, and History. You're about to embark on a journey that digs deep into the roots of prosperity. A journey that starts with understanding the values and hard-earned lessons of generations that came before you. Picture this. You're sitting at a simple kitchen table with a cup of coffee in hand, ready to learn a secret blueprint that can change your financial future. This isn't about get-rich-quick schemes or lofty theories. It's about real strategies handed down over centuries, and it's all rooted in unwavering faith, solid values, and a history of overcoming challenges. Let's begin by focusing on what matters most, your foundation. Think of this as the bedrock of your financial success. Just like building a house requires strong concrete, your financial life demands a solid base of principles that have been tested by time. You might be struggling with debt, frustrated by a lack of savings, or simply feeling overwhelmed by financial decisions. Believe me, you're not alone. Many have stood exactly where you are, faced these very challenges, and then discovered a way forward by embracing timeless wisdom. Allow me to share the story of David, a small business owner from Newark who was drowning in bills and uncertain about his financial future. David's turning point wasn't found in a magic bullet, but in a deep dive into his cultural heritage. He recalled how his grandmother always stressed that every coin had a story and every expense was an opportunity to reaffirm his values. This simple yet profound mindset shift allowed David to transform a $5,000 monthly deficit into a disciplined saving plan that eventually led him to clear his debt in under 2 years. David didn't rely on a fancy financial advisor. He turned to a method that was as practical as it was powerful, budgeting with purpose, motivated by tradition and accountability. Now, let's get you started on your own path to financial strength. First, take a hard look at your current spending. Write down every expense for a month. Yes, every single one. And as you do, ask yourself, is this expense aligned with my core values and my long-term goals? If the answer is no, it's time to reconsider. This isn't about cutting all enjoyment from your life. It's about ensuring that every dollar serves a purpose that extends beyond immediate gratification. You deserve to celebrate wins, but celebrate them within a framework that builds security and future wealth. Next, let's talk about a small, actionable step that might make a big difference. Set aside just 10% of any money you come in as a savings seed. When you receive your paycheck, transfer that 10% into a separate savings account. It might feel like a small gesture initially, but over time, this habit creates a cushion that can help you navigate unexpected expenses or even invest in new opportunities. Think of it as planting a seed that, with time and care, grows into something resilient and life-changing. Another powerful principle that has been a pillar in many Jewish communities is the concept of mishpat, which is all about fairness, accountability, and balanced decision-making. In your everyday life, let this idea push you to negotiate better deals, scrutinize contracts, and demand fairness in every transaction. It's not just a moral guideline. It's an actionable strategy that has protected countless families from falling into harmful financial traps. One more thing you could do right now is to start tracking your progress. Use a simple spreadsheet or even an old-fashioned ledger to record your income, expenses, and savings. I know it sounds tedious, but when you look back in a few months, the numbers will tell a story of discipline and growth. Just like David, whose consistent record-keeping allowed him to identify areas of waste and reallocate funds to debt repayment. You too can discover small efficiencies that accumulate into significant financial improvements. Remember, this chapter isn't just about historical wisdom. It's about putting time-honored principles to work in today's world. Your financial journey is unique, and every step you take builds towards a future defined by stability, fairness, and genuine prosperity. By embracing these foundations, You're not only honoring a legacy, but also creating a future where you have control over your money and your life. The transformation won't happen overnight, but step by step, with each conscious decision, you'll build a foundation that's strong, enduring, and transformative. So, take a deep breath, get that pen and paper, and begin the work today. Your financial future is in your hands, crafted not from vague promises, but from actionable, proven practices that have stood the test of time. This is your starting line for a journey that honors the past, transforms your present, and secures your future. Chapter 2. The Wealth Mindset, Psychology, and Belief Systems. You've been grinding day in and day out, feeling like no matter how hard you work, your finances remain stuck in the same place. Now, imagine if you could flip that script. What if you could reprogram your inner dialogue about money and finally start building wealth on your own terms? In this chapter, you're about to discover a simple, no-nonsense approach to transforming your wealth mindset, the very core that drives your financial decisions every single day. Let's get real. All too often, you've been caught in a cycle of negative thinking, believing that wealth is only for a fortunate few, that your hard work is never enough, or that you're stuck with a paycheck that barely covers the bills. The secret to breaking free isn't a magic formula. It's about adopting a clear, actionable mindset that redefines how you view money. You need to start by recognizing that money is a tool, not a goal in itself. This isn't just wishful thinking. It's a practical philosophy backed by countless success stories. Picture this. A friend of mine, David, was drowning in self-doubt and debt. At one point, he believed his financial future was predetermined by his past mistakes. But instead of resigning himself to that fate, he began to treat every dollar as an opportunity for change. David started small. He tracked every single expense, yes, even that daily coffee. Within a few months, he realized that cutting back on minor indulgences could free up an extra $100 a month. That $100 wasn't huge, but it was a start. He redirected it toward paying down his credit card debt, which had been draining his paycheck. Fast forward a year, and David had reduced his debt by 40%, a tangible, powerful victory that completely redefined his outlook on money. You can do the same. Start by challenging the limiting beliefs that have weighed you down. Ask yourself, what if I believe that every dollar saved or invested is a seed for the future? It sounds simple, but this mental shift is the foundation of a wealth mindset. Begin by setting aside a small amount each week. Think $20 or even $10 if that's all you can manage. The key isn't the size of the deposit, it's the habit. Write down every amount you manage to save and watch it slowly grow. Over time, these small amounts add up, and so does your confidence. Another powerful technique is to replace your habitual negative self-talk with constructive, direct affirmations. Instead of mulling over thoughts like, I'll never be able to get ahead, tell yourself, every decision I make brings me closer to my financial goals. It might feel awkward at first, but as you consistently use these affirmations, you will notice subtle changes in your decision-making. When you're tempted to make an impulsive purchase, pause and ask, will this purchase move me closer to my goals? Often, you'll find that the answer is no. If you've ever felt paralyzed by your own budgeting ideas, try a simple rule. For every $100 earned, commit to putting at least 10% aside. This straightforward rule has helped many transform their finances without getting bogged down by complicated spreadsheets or endless planning. You can automate this process through your bank if needed. Set up a transfer to your savings account the day after you get paid. Automation eliminates the emotional decisions around money and makes saving as inevitable as paying bills. Now, let me share another real-life story. Sarah, a client of mine, was working 2 jobs just to make ends meet. She always felt that there wasn't enough money to go around. With a shift in her mindset, she began to actively track her income and spending. Within 6 months, Sarah wasn't just saving money. She had built an emergency fund worth $3,000. How? By recognizing that her spending was under her control. By simply choosing to say, I deserve a secure financial future, she began making choices that aligned with that goal. She looked for cheaper alternatives, negotiated bills, and even took on a freelance side hustle. All of these decisions were driven by a conscious shift in her mindset. The actionable tip here is to create your own money journal. Each day, write down one financial decision you made that brought you closer to your long-term goals, no matter how small. Over time, your journal becomes a record of progress, a tangible reminder of your ability to control and improve your financial life. Remember, nothing changes overnight. Just as muscles build with regular exercise, your financial mindset strengthens with daily practice. You're not destined to be defined by past financial struggles. Embrace these actionable steps. Track your money, challenge your limiting beliefs, and automate your savings. You have the power to change the financial narrative of your life, one deliberate action at a time. And while the journey may start with small, deliberate steps, the cumulative impact can be monumental. You're on your way to a new financial future, one where your mindset fuels your journey toward lasting prosperity. Chapter 3. The Power of Tzedakah, Generosity as a Wealth-Building Tool. You understand that money isn't just about numbers in the bank. It's a tool for building real life. Picture this. Every time you decide to share a little of your wealth, you're not just giving away spare change. You're cementing relationships, nurturing trust, and creating a foundation for a thriving future. In this chapter, you'll discover how the practice of tzedakah, the timeless Jewish tradition of charity, can transform your financial life by making generosity an integral, actionable part of your daily routine. Let's get straight to it. You've probably felt the pressure of seeing your hard-earned dollars vanish into bills or worry about unexpected expenses. What if, instead of treating charity as a vague ideal, you approached it like any other smart investment? Consider the story of David, an accountant from a mid-sized city who was initially skeptical of giving away money. David was juggling 3 mortgages and was constantly worried about his emergency savings. But when he started setting aside 1% of his monthly income, about $100 for tzedakah, something surprising happened. Not only did he find that his anxiety about money decreased, but his network of connections broadened. That modest donation led to reciprocal acts of kindness, including a job referral that eventually increased his salary by 15%. You can adopt a similar approach by earmarking a small percentage of your income, no matter how tight your budget may feel. Start small, track your spending, and watch how that little percentage compounds into a system of support when you need it most. Now, let's talk numbers. Imagine you earn $3,000 a month. Allocating just 1% gives you $30. It might seem insignificant at first, but over a year, that becomes $360, a not-so-insignificant sum that can provide meals for a family or support a community program. And as you see the tangible benefits, you'll realize that every dollar has a purpose beyond filling an account. You'll learn that giving isn't a burden or an afterthought. It's a dynamic step in your financial growth strategy. It's about shifting your mindset from scarcity to abundance, understanding that when you give, you invite abundance back into your life. Consider Sarah's example. She was in her late 20s, burdened with student loans and the pressures of early career life. When Sarah decided to adopt a disciplined tzedakah practice of donating $20 per month, it forced her to closely monitor her expenses and prioritize her spending. Instead of feeling deprived, Sarah began to feel empowered. Tracking her tzedakah contributions gave her a clear view of her financial commitments. Over time, she managed to trim down unnecessary expenses, reallocate funds to clear her student debt, and even build a small nest egg. For Sarah, tzedakah wasn't just a ritual. It was a catalyst for smarter money management, a way to measure what truly mattered to her and to rebalance her financial ecosystem. You might be thinking, but what if I don't have any extra money to give? The answer is simple. Start with what you have. Even if you're living paycheck to paycheck, consider non-monetary contributions as part of your generosity toolkit. You could volunteer time or skills, share professional advice with someone who needs it, or even help a neighbor with daily errands. Real money isn't solely measured by dollars. It's measured by the value you add to other people's lives. When you extend your hand, you create a ripple effect, encouraging others to do the same. And before you know it, those small acts add up, impacting both your life and your community in measurable ways. When you implement these actionable tips, remember to track your progress. Maintain a simple journal or spreadsheet to record your contributions, whether cash or time. Over the course of a year, review your entries. Notice the trends, the moments when your contributions led to a significant return, a new opportunity, a rekindled friendship, a community that rallied when you needed help. By analyzing your history, you will identify the most effective ways to give, and you will adjust your plan accordingly, ensuring that generosity becomes a reliable part of your financial growth strategy. You deserve to see your efforts rewarded, both materially and emotionally. As you incorporate these practices, you'll experience the satisfaction that comes from active participation in a community. Not only receiving support when you need it, but also knowing that your small efforts contributed to a larger cycle of positive energy. In essence, Tzedakah transforms your approach to money from a solitary pursuit into a community-centered venture, where every dollar, every minute of your time, builds a bridge to a more resilient and prosperous future. So, take that leap of faith. Start small, be consistent, and document your journey. Over time, these acts of giving will become a powerful habit, one that redefines your relationship with money and opens up avenues you hadn't even imagined. This is your roadmap for turning generosity into wealth, a strategy that works because it's rooted in real experience, measurable results, and the timeless wisdom of Tzedakah. Chapter 4: Strategic Stewardship, Planning, Saving, and Investing Wisely. You're here because you know that if you don't get a grip on your finances today, tomorrow could bring more unwanted surprises. I want you to imagine this. You're staring at a bank statement with red numbers that simply don't add up to your dreams. I've been there, and so have countless others. Let's cut through the noise and get to the heart of it. Planning, saving, and investing wisely isn't about gimmicks or complex formulas. It's about taking deliberate steps that work in the real world. Now, let's dive in. First, you need to see your money like a tool, not a toy. Start by tracking every single expense for a month. Write it down. Yes, even your morning coffee counts. I had a friend who, after tracking his spending, was shocked to see he was spending over $300 a month on little non-essentials that he barely remembered buying. With that awareness, he cut back and started diverting funds into a savings account. It's not abstract advice. It's the very foundation that transforms chaos into control. Once you have that clarity, it's time for a plan. A rule that worked for me was the envelope system. Divide your cash, or digital equivalents, into categories: bills, groceries, fun money, and savings. When you put money into your envelopes, you set boundaries. Think of it as giving each dollar a job. If you're not spending beyond what's in the envelope, you're working with strict discipline. In fact, one small business owner I mentored started with an envelope for $500 in discretionary spending. Within 3 months, he was able to show a 25% decrease in unnecessary expenses, which in turn allowed him to invest more in his business. Speaking of investments, let's talk numbers. The beauty of compound interest can't be overstated. It's the real secret weapon. Here's an example. If you set aside just $200 a month in a diversified portfolio earning an average of 6% annual return, in 20 years you're looking at nearly $100,000. It sounds intimidating until you break it down into a manageable monthly habit. I remember a case where one of my clients, a single parent working 2 jobs, started by investing small amounts consistently. Over a decade, that steady input not only built a safety net, but also gave him the confidence to make a bold career change without the burden of crippling debt. Now, let's hit a common pain point: debt. You know that sinking feeling when those interest rates pile up and your hard-earned money drips away. The trick is to attack your debt like you would a leaking roof. Start with the smallest debt first, get it out of the way, and then roll that payment into the next, larger debt. This snowball method is about momentum. I once saw a case where someone paid off $10,000 in credit card debt in just 2 years by following this strategy, freeing up funds that could then be redirected towards savings and investments. It wasn't luck, it was deliberate, disciplined action. Here's another actionable tip. Set specific, measurable goals. Don't say, I want to save more money. Say, I'm going to save $1,000 in the next 6 months. Write that goal down, monitor your progress weekly, and adjust if needed. When your goal is clear, you're not just winging it, you're building milestones. It's like training for a marathon. You wouldn't run 26.2 miles without setting smaller targets, right? I want you to also consider automating as much as possible. Automatic transfers to your savings account or investment fund on payday turn a daunting task into a routine habit. In our digital age, setting these rules up shouldn't take more than a few minutes. One of my colleagues automated her savings, and what amazed her was how money accumulated without her ever feeling the pinch, until she looked at her account months later and the progress was undeniable. Finally, review and revise regularly. You're not going to set it and forget it. Life changes, and so should your strategy. Every quarter, sit down and evaluate your budget, your expenses, and your investments. Even if it's just a brief check-in, those regular adjustments prevent small issues from turning into big problems. Remember, you're the captain of your financial ship, and regular course corrections will ensure you stay on track. Your journey to financial stability is built on small, consistent actions that add up over time. Picture yourself 1 year from now. You've tracked your expenses, organized your funds, crushed your debt, and begun your journey in investing. It feels good, doesn't it? That's the power of strategic stewardship. It turns anxiety into empowerment, confusion into clarity, and leads you to a future where your money works for you, not the other way around. Take these steps seriously, and you'll see the transformation in both your bank account and your peace of mind. Chapter 5. Networking and Mentorship. Building alliances for success. You step into a room buzzing with energy, knowing that every handshake and every conversation is a building block in your network of success. In this moment, you aren't just attending another event or meeting someone new. You are actively sculpting the future of your career and finances. Today, you're going to learn to be intentional about connecting with people who share your drive, who challenge you, and who can become your mentors. Start by identifying your specific goals. Ask yourself, what milestones do I need to achieve? Maybe you're looking to scale your business, pivot careers, or just unlock that next level in your current role. Once you know your target, you can seek out people who have been there and can guide you. I remember when I was stuck in a mid-level position with no clear path upward. I decided that if I wanted a breakthrough, I needed to expand my circle. I reached out to a local entrepreneur meetup and eventually found a mentor who had built a business from the ground up. Within a year, I went from a modest salary increase of 10% to a leadership role offering a 35% boost and a wealth of new opportunities. The key here is to be intentional. Instead of sending a generic LinkedIn request, spend time researching the person's background. Identify one thing they've done that resonates with your ambitions. Maybe a project they spearheaded or an article they wrote about overcoming failure, and mention in your message. I really appreciated your insight on scaling startups without burning out, you might say. This shows you're not just fishing for help. You genuinely respect their experience and view them as a potential guide. When attending networking events, treat them like workshops rather than parties. You don't need to be the social butterfly. You need to be the mindful strategist. Prepare a quick personal pitch that succinctly states who you are, what you do, and what you are looking for in a mentor. For example, hi, I'm Alex. I run a small business in sustainable fashion, and I'm looking for advice on scaling operations while maintaining quality and ethics. This clarity often leads to more targeted advice. In one instance, a simple conversation at an industry conference led to a referral that resulted in a partnership worth over $50,000 in new business. That's the power of structured networking. You also have to be prepared for rejection. Not every conversation will blossom into a lasting relationship, and that's fine. Each interaction is a chance to practice your approach, refine your message, and gain insights into what works. Keep a small journal or use a note-taking app to write down who you met, the topics you discussed, and any follow-up actions. This habit not only organizes your efforts, but provides a reference to deepen each connection later on. Mentorship isn't always a formal relationship. Sometimes, a casual chat over coffee can spark an idea that transforms your thinking. You might find that someone isn't ready or able to mentor you full-time, but they could introduce you to someone else who fits perfectly. Follow up on every conversation. A simple email stating, "Thank you for sharing your insights at the event. I'm excited to explore what we discussed further," keeps the communication channel open and signals your genuine interest. Another actionable tip is to diversify your network. Don't just stick to the industry you're in. Sometimes, breakthrough ideas come from unexpected sources. Attend workshops and seminars outside your usual scope. For instance, if you're in tech, join events focused on entrepreneurship, finance, or even art. The cross-pollination of ideas can provide innovative perspectives on challenges you thought were unique. I once met a retired executive in a local cooking class, and that conversation sparked a project that eventually saved my company thousands of dollars in operational costs. Your network is a living, evolving asset. It requires constant care and nurturing. Set aside time each week to reach out. This could be a simple coffee invite or a quick follow-up call after an event. Remember, you're not asking for a favor without giving back. Think of ways to add value before asking for advice. Offer your expertise in areas where you excel, or simply be a supportive listener when someone needs to vent. It creates a reciprocal relationship that benefits both parties. As you build your network, track your progress. Note the tangible benefits. The introduction that led to a job interview, the mentor who helped you refine your business strategy, the casual conversation that sparked a transformative idea. These milestones serve as motivation and clear indicators that your efforts are paying off. Over time, you will see not just a growing list of contacts, but a robust community that supports your ambitions and accelerates your journey to success. In every interaction, be authentic and purposeful. You have the power to shape your financial future and career trajectory through the people you choose to let into your circle. The alliances you build today will be the stepping stones for your achievements tomorrow. So, get out there, be relentless, and know that every genuine conversation is a potential turning point in your journey. Chapter 6: Balancing Work and Wisdom. Ethics, hard work, and continuous learning. You probably felt it, the relentless pressure of work that leaves you exhausted, overwhelmed, and questioning whether you're building more than just a paycheck. In this chapter, we're talking straight. You're not meant to work yourself to the bone, sacrificing your well-being for a bigger bank balance. Instead, you deserve a balanced approach that marries hard work with wisdom, ethics, and continuous learning. Let's cut to the chase and break down how you can reclaim your time, your ethics, and your potential without falling into burnout. Picture this. A few years back, I was grinding for long hours, chasing a promotion that never brought satisfaction. I'd clock 10 to 12 hours daily, fueled by the myth that more hours equaled more success. One day, after a particularly grueling week, I realized I wasn't just running on empty. I was burning out completely. That was my wake-up call, and you might find yourself in a similar spot. It's not about how many hours you put in, but how effectively you use those hours. It's about aligning your hard work with your core values, so that every effort builds toward a richer, more fulfilling life. Let's start with actionable steps. First, define your non-negotiables. Write down what matters most to you, your family, your health, your passions. For instance, if you decide that 2 hours a day are sacred for family time or learning a new skill, protect that time like you would a client meeting. I began setting aside 60 minutes each morning for personal development and another 60 for a short workout. These routines didn't cost me extra money, but they bought clarity and energy that no overtime ever could. You owe it to yourself to invest in yourself first. Next, establish clear boundaries at work. Communicate to your boss and team that while you're committed to excellence, you're also committed to a balanced life. If you're consistently staying late or answering emails during dinner, the message is that work is taking over. I recall a pivotal moment when my supervisor asked me to stay on for an extra 3 hours one afternoon. Instead of agreeing, I outlined my schedule for the day and said, "I cannot alter my commitments because my efficiency and focus are at stake." That conversation shifted how my team respected work-life boundaries. Use your calendar as a tool. Block off time that is strictly you time and treat it like any important meeting. You might worry that by setting these boundaries, you'll miss out on opportunities, but consider this. When you're rested and focused, your work quality skyrockets. Studies have shown that working smarter, by taking regular breaks and ensuring clear work-life separation, can increase productivity by up to 20%. It's a simple trade-off you simply can't ignore. You don't need to be in the office until 9 p.m. to prove your dedication. Your results speak louder than your screen time. Now, let's talk ethics and continuous learning. You've likely encountered instances where shortcuts, even if they seemed profitable in the short term, eventually led to compromise, whether it was your self-respect or the trust others placed in you. Real success is built on a foundation of ethical choices. So, if an opportunity arises that seems too good to be true, take a step back. Ask yourself, does this align with my values? Will I be proud of this decision in 5 years? In my early days, I almost fell for a tempting business venture that promised quick gains, but would have meant compromising my core values. I walked away, and that decision saved me from long-term regret. This isn't just a moral stance. It's about long-term financial security. Clients and colleagues trust ethical behavior, and that trust is a currency in itself. Continuous learning is your secret weapon. The world is evolving, and the skills that worked yesterday might not cut it tomorrow. Invest in courses, books, or even informal mentorships that allow you to upgrade your skill set. For instance, I set a goal to learn one new skill every quarter. Last year, I learned the fundamentals of digital marketing through an online course, which directly contributed to a 15% uptick in my business's outreach efforts. The numbers don't lie. Small, consistent investments in self-improvement compound into significant benefits over time. Consider this your personal action plan. Reevaluate your schedule, set concrete boundaries, and invest in yourself. Identify specific time slots dedicated to work, learning, and life. Stick to them fiercely. When you make ethical decisions in your professional life, you build a reputation that isn't just profitable, but respected. And as you continuously learn and adapt, you future-proof your career against the unpredictable shifts of today's economy. In the end, balancing work and wisdom isn't about depriving yourself of opportunities. It's about harnessing every opportunity to lead a life that's both successful and sustainable. By setting clear boundaries, upholding ethical standards, and investing in continuous learning, you can transform your career and personal life into a seamless blend of fulfillment and achievement. Remember, hard work should empower you, not enslave you. And every decision you make today sets the stage for a balanced, prosperous tomorrow. Chapter 7. Resilience and Adaptability. Overcoming financial setbacks. When you hit a setback and your bank account takes a blow, you might feel like you're drowning. But let me tell you, this is the exact moment when your real strength is forged. You've likely already experienced the sting of an unexpected bill, a job loss, or a missed opportunity, and it can feel overwhelming. Yet, these moments are not the end of your story. They're the spark that lights your path toward a sturdier financial future. Picture this. You wake up one morning and find that your monthly paycheck is mysteriously lower than expected because your employer cut hours. Your immediate reaction might be panic, but instead of letting fear paralyze you, you decide to grab the reins. The first step is simple. Assess your expenses and get brutally honest about where your money is actually going. Sit down with your bank statements, list every single expense from the regular bills to that coffee habit, and then ask yourself, is this really necessary right now? Cutting back might mean skipping a few nights out or delaying that impulse online purchase. But these adjustments are your lifeline while you regain your footing. I remember a friend, let's call him David, who lost his job unexpectedly. Instead of wallowing in self-pity, David immediately reallocated his finances. He slashed his monthly spending by 20% and redirected that money into a savings account dedicated solely to emergencies. Within 3 months, he was able to build a buffer of $1,200, a cushion that eventually became his springboard to a new career. David's success wasn't a fluke. It was the result of making deliberate, thoughtful choices under pressure. You, too, can follow in his footsteps by establishing clear, realistic financial boundaries that prevent minor setbacks from derailing your entire financial plan. Next, focus on creating a contingency plan. When you've been struck by adversity, you need a roadmap to follow, not just wishful thinking. Start by setting a specific savings goal. Aim for at least 3 months' worth of living expenses if possible. Break that total down into weekly or monthly targets. For instance, if your monthly expenses total $2,000, your goal would be $6,000. This might seem daunting, but even setting aside an extra $50 a week can snowball over time. You might need to adopt side hustles, freelance gigs, or even part-time work until you regain stability. The key is to keep your eye on the prize and remember that every small contribution counts. Another crucial element is learning from your setbacks. Ask yourself, what led me to this point? Was it a lack of planning, a risky financial decision, or simply an unforeseen event? Write down your thoughts and identify patterns. If overspending on non-essentials tripped you up, commit to a budget going forward. Use tools like budgeting apps or even a simple spreadsheet to track your progress. Trust me, the clarity you gain by seeing exactly where every dollar goes is an invaluable tool in preventing future slips. In fact, many who have reined in their spending by tracking every expense report a dramatic decrease in financial anxiety. They know that money isn't vanishing into thin air. It's accounted for, and that makes all the difference. Now, let's get real about debt. If you're carrying credit card balances or loans, tackle them head-on. Start with the highest interest rates first and make extra payments whenever possible. I've seen people trim a $10,000 debt by 5% interest down in just over a year by committing to paying an extra $100 each month. These are not magic numbers, but tangible steps that you can measure and witness over time. Also, negotiate with your creditors if you're overwhelmed. Many are willing to offer temporary relief programs or interest rate reductions if you ask the right questions. Resilience is not just about toughening up, it's about adapting and learning. Embrace the mindset that every setback is a lesson in disguise. For example, consider the common milestone of an unexpected car repair. Instead of lamenting the $500 expense, use it as an opportunity to learn about setting aside a specific unexpected fund for things that simply cannot be planned. Over time, these funds grow, and you transform a recurring stressor into a manageable expense that reinforces your financial independence. Remember, you're not alone. Many have faced financial storms and emerged stronger by implementing concrete strategies. Each decision you make now, tracking spending, setting strict savings goals, or reducing unnecessary costs, is a step toward transforming adversity into advantage. This journey isn't about grand overnight transformations, but a series of consistent, actionable moves that build resilience and prepare you for the inevitable challenges of life. When you develop these habits, you not only survive financial setbacks, you thrive in spite of them. So, the next time you face a financial hurdle, pause, assess, and act. Take control of your spending, set clear goals, attack your debt systematically, and create a realistic, practical plan. It's time to turn those setbacks into the stepping stones that pave your road to financial freedom. Your future, after all, is built on the decisions you make today. Chapter 8. Legacy and Future Prosperity, Building Wealth for Generations. Let's get real. Building wealth is hard, but keeping it, that's a whole different beast. There's a saying that wealth rarely survives 3 generations. But here's the kicker. Many Jewish families have preserved their wealth for over 300 years. How? Through a blend of financial literacy, ethical investing, and intentional family planning. Take the Tish family, for example. Their wealth, estimated in the billions, comes from diverse business interests, including real estate and hospitality. They didn't just amass wealth. They managed it wisely across generations. The most 10. So, how can you apply these principles to your own life? 1. Start with financial education. Financial literacy is the cornerstone of generational wealth. Make it a family affair. Discuss budgeting, saving, and investing with your children. Use real-life examples to illustrate financial concepts. This not only imparts knowledge, but also fosters a culture of openness around money. 2. Embrace ethical investing. Jewish investing principles emphasize aligning profit with purpose. Consider socially responsible investing, SRI, or environmental, social, and governance, ESG, factors when building your portfolio. This approach ensures that your investments reflect your values and contribute positively to society. 3. Prioritize estate planning. Clear estate planning is crucial. Without it, families risk disputes and financial loss. Work with advisors to create wills and trusts that reflect your wishes and values. This not only preserves wealth, but also promotes family harmony. 4. Foster open communication. Regular family meetings to discuss financial matters can prevent misunderstandings. Transparency about assets, intentions, and expectations helps align family members and ensures everyone is on the same page. 5. Invest in education. Education is a powerful tool for wealth preservation. Encourage continuous learning and personal development within your family. This not only enhances individual capabilities, but also strengthens the family's collective financial acumen. Building generational wealth isn't about quick fixes or secret formulas. It's about consistent, intentional actions grounded in values and education. By applying these principles, you can create a legacy that benefits not just your family, but your community as well.